TG Geeks, episode 401, October 24th, 2022. And we're off. Hello, and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith forget their lines. The Two Gay Geeks.
I wasn't talking.
I was. Talk about all aspects of Geek-dom and Nerd-ery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, where I've changed things up a bit, and I didn't have two pieces of information open.
Oops.
And I forgot a stinger, so there we are.
Well, anyway, and I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from a ship.
A ship.
Because we're actually on a cruise right now.
Yes, actually, probably by the time you listen to this, we will be on our cruise ship sailing to Catalina Island. Catalina Police.
Catalina Police?
That's what Sidney Wang says in
Murder by Death?
Murder by Death. So anyway.
I don't remember.
Over to Catalina, down to Ensenada, just a little short
It's a 4-night cruise, and we need a
need
vacation badly.
We're
burned out.
I'm burned. So let's get on with it here.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, we just have a couple of things that we want to talk about.
Wow, not what I thought we were going to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's okay.
Anyway, yep. We've just got a couple of things that we'll talk about. And because we didn't have an interview for this show, got our birthday shout outs, our featured podcast of the week. And we got you have some feedback?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All for one episode, too.
Okay. Some feedbacks, our regular shout outs. And in the second segment, we might talk about something else, and then our wacky weekly recap and the regular shout-outs, and then we're done.
Yeah.
So here we go. What is that crap?
Halloween music?
There we go. That's for next week.
Well, it's still part of the Halloween season.
Halloween season. Yeah, we should have used this for next week.
Oh, well. It's still fine. It's still the Halloween season. It's still okay.
Anyway. Oh, got to get rid of that first.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay, now you're just killing time.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we're just kind of burned out. We're ready to take a little vacation and
desperately need it.
Get out of town for a few minutes.
And this is a proper vacation, just the two of us. We haven't had one since the damn-demic.
Exactly. And this is
So this will be nice.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
so we touched on this last week in the second segment because we had
I think we're safe to talk about it with a little bit more detail now because social media has been all over the place with this. Analyses, everywhere. Den of Geek, comicbook.com. I mean, everybody's talking about what went on in this episode.
Yeah. Well, and the Rings of Power ended its run for this season. And I read an article from a guy, a critic from The Guardian.
Oh, you were telling me about this one. He just
absolutely trashed it.
And he couldn't give a reason why.
He kept going on, and he said, they couldn't act their way out of a paper bag.
What?
And, all of this stuff. It was just, I think he wanted to hate it just to hate it.
But that's, okay, we're seeing a lot of that these days, I think. Yeah,
and granted, it wasn't as flashy and it wasn't Peter Jackson.
No.
It was Amazon, and he accused Amazon of throwing millions of dollars at this thing just to be. And I thought it was, I liked it.
I did too.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
No, I didn't hate it, but I didn't
absolutely love it either.
I didn't love it like I do Lord of the Rings or the first of the Hobbit movies.
Right.
Those I'm madly in love with, and I think they're fantastic. I watch them sometimes more than once a year. But I thought this was still good. It provided some kind of backstory in an area where there really isn't one. I mean, there's just notes and ideas that Tolkien gave. Appendices. And even things that Tolkien revised himself later on. So,
and even the Silmarillion was
God.
Notes.
No, exactly.
That was kind of tied together by Christopher.
Yeah.
In some cases, it probably there was a complete sections, but it still had to be tied together. It was such a tome to read. Oh my God.
Yeah, very, very difficult to get through.
But I mean, they didn't really. Now, the information that I read said that they used most of the information came from the appendices.
Yeah, I read that too.
Granted, there were some other things that came. You discovered that there were some people that had said, "Oh yeah, he revised it in such and such writings," and
that
there's some additional extraneous or apocryphal writings.
Later in his life, after he had long published the Lord of the Rings, with the appendices, he started doing some short stories, and including some short stories that were considered unpublished. And there was one where he had revised the origin of the two blue wizards, saying that they came during the Second Age as opposed to the Third Age. And what my point is with all of that is because Tolkien was continually revising his work, we need to approach all of this with a very open mind. I mean, if you're going to be really literal, then you have to poke a lot of holes in Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah.
Because it does not follow the book
exactly.
letter by letter.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There are things that are notably dropped. Tom Bombadil is a big one.
Right, exactly. That I'm still mad about.
Yeah, Peter Jackson, I'm still bitter. Okay, you should. But be that as it may,
exactly.
And where the hell was Glorfindel?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. But be that as it may, the point is that if people were willing to look at the Lord of the Rings and be so forgiving towards it, I think they need to do the same thing with Rings of Power. But I'm going to throw this out. I have a funny feeling that if Lord of the Rings were to come out today, the exact same trilogy but brand new today, people will be dumping on it because for some reason we just live in a hateful society, and they just want to hate to hate.
They just want to hate to hate. Be critic to be criticized to be a critic.
Yeah, and I remember something that I said on Twitter before the first episode of Rings of Power premiered, and that is, if the story is told well enough, I can overlook a lot of changes from the whatever is written down, and they changed quite a few things.
Right.
I mean, they obviously there was a lot of adding they could do because there were stories that we never heard. But some things were definitely changed, but I liked the way they did it.
Yeah, one of the things that I really enjoyed in this last episode was the forging of the elven rings.
Right.
That was, I didn't know that they were part mithril and
well, I don't think they originally
part of
I don't think they're
Galadriel's dagger.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever established in any of the printed material.
No.
But I think for the sake of this story, it makes for good drama.
Well, what it does, it takes and the mithril and then the enchantment of the elves on that blade, and it kind of ties them all together. And since the mithril is, according to this story, is what is to save
it'll save
the elves.
Elvendom.
And I thought that was fascinating. I thought
it was nice.
It was a nice touch. Whether that is
there's any truth to it, as far as Tolkien's writings go,
right?
Who's to say? I did like it because it established. Well, for one thing, it starts to kind of hint at a little further as to the animosity that exists between elves and dwarves.
Right.
I mean, it's already there.
Right.
But the fact that now there's a little bit more of an axe to grind, I think.
But I think they accelerated that.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course they did.
Significantly.
Of course they did.
And they compressed time on a lot of other things.
A lot of time compression.
You know.
Introducing who we believe to be Gandalf. The showrunners are trying to be cagey and say, well, nothing's been proven yet. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
We don't buy it. Yeah. We're pretty certain that's Gandalf.
And her name was Brandyfoot.
Brandyfoot, yeah.
Hello.
I know.
And Mary Brandy Buck.
Exactly.
And he says that exact line to Mary.
To Mary.
Exactly. You know, duh.
Yeah.
That you just go around with a sign with HUD on the.
I know. Every time you look in the mirror, you'll see duh. So of course, and the bit with Sauron. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And
it was interesting.
It's not.
Although I slept through most of it.
Oh, that's right. We need to rewatch that just for your benefit.
Yeah, my eyes got tired.
Okay, well, I guess we have to rewatch it. But the point is, I liked it. Are they going to do any kind of changes based on fan reaction? No. Why? Well, because they're deep into production of the second season. When that comes out is anybody's guess because there's going to be a lot of post on that baby.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Yeah. So let's move on to She-Hulk. Just spend a moment there.
Another controversial show.
Yes, exactly. And I think I liked that show a lot.
I did too.
Knowing nothing about She-Hulk, you
didn't have to.
I'm not the comic book person.
You don't have to. Although I will say that, in my opinion, there are some comic book lines with She-Hulk, comic book series that she breaks the fourth wall in the pages of the book.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. I mean, not every time she shows up, but there are some titles of She-Hulk where she has done that.
Well,
so
in this last episode, she broke the fifth, sixth, and she broke the house.
She broke the house.
Exactly.
It was hilarious.
And people were screaming and crying about that.
Why?
And it's like, good grief.
It was funny.
Give me a break.
I laughed at it. I thought it was great. The jokes. I mean, even from the very opening credits.
To quote a line from Tim Allen from Galaxy Quest, it's a damn TV show.
I liked it right from the opening credits because they decided to poke fun at the CBS The Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby. That series, which I thought that was genius.
Yes. The series?
The series, yeah.
It was at that time.
Actually,
it was
groundbreaking. The series was groundbreaking. It was full of pathos. It was more of a tragedy, a tragic story.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, I loved what Marvel did with that.
Yep.
Poking fun at it, I mean, with the same grainy quality.
Oh yeah, it was
and
silly.
done in the same TV definition standard. It was wonderful. Line for line, I thought it was brilliant. And it just kept going and going and going.
It'll be interesting to see if they pick up a second season and what that's going to look like.
That's a good question. And even if they don't, my big question is, will they do anything more with her?
Exactly.
I'd be fascinated to know about that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed She-Hulk, and I'm sure there are a billion detractors out there. But hey, be that as it may, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. But we loved it.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about something
I'm glad. This is one of the things I did want to talk about.
That we experienced last weekend at Arizona Opera. My brother came in town. Kurt is a retired sergeant major. That is the highest rank that you can achieve
when non-commissioned.
For a non-commissioned officer. I mean, he served for 30 years. And he brought his uniform. He came out here, brought his uniform, and he was in uniform.
He looked smashing.
He did. But Arizona Opera presented The Falling and The Rising, and it is
it's a new work.
It's a new work. It is not new music in the sense of what some people consider,
atonal
20th century music now, atonal and
12-tone,
all of this kind of stuff, and where the voices don't match the orchestra in any form, shape, or fashion. This was melodic. We met the composer on Thursday night at a private
dinner
reception, and it was interesting because he started out writing show tunes, and then the real difference that he said between opera and a musical is the voice placement. Where is the voice placed? Because there's that typical operatic sound of the voice, and where it can go different places than you can't, unaided by technology or a microphone or anything, versus on Broadway where most of the singers are mic'd.
So I have to ask the question then, Phantom of the Opera.
I think that is an opera.
Okay.
To be honest.
Oklahoma.
I think that's an opera.
Because Shirley Jones and Gordon McRae were never opera singers.
But if you listen at the very beginning...
Well, he does have a
beautiful
powerful
morning
baritone voice. I'm not questioning
and
that.
It is an operatic tone to his voice when he sings "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning" at the very top of the show.
I would agree with that.
So I would say that's American opera.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So anyway...
But it was wonderful. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, The Falling and the Rising, they did 25 or so interviews with veterans at a couple of facilities, mostly Walter Reed, about veterans that had come back with injuries, traumatic brain injuries, lost limbs, other things, and how they are moving on with their life. And one of the soldiers said, all we have is here and now.
Yeah.
And that was kind of became the theme of the show. And it really, without giving too much away, it is a fantastic production. I was glad. It brought me to tears.
It brought me to tears a couple of times too. It was very beautiful.
Kurt wouldn't talk about it.
No,
but I know that he was affected by it.
Yeah.
So
there's no question.
I think hopefully there's some healing that this piece can do, because it's not just opera companies that they're performing this at. They're actually taking certain pieces and going to veterans hospitals and performing those pieces, and it's kind of neat. So I'm proud that Arizona Opera did that.
Yeah. I want to bring up something. It's not on the script, but I really want to talk about this. A movie we saw a couple of weeks ago, Tar.
Yes. I forgot we hadn't talked about that.
Yeah, we haven't. No, we didn't have a chance to talk about it.
Yeah, we haven't, because we had interviews.
Right.
Yeah, that was a fascinating movie. It was, and just to break it down, and my perception of it was a movie about a brilliant person who had some, I would say, spectrum-y things, mostly obsessive compulsive behavior, and some mental illness that she didn't take care of, and that turned into abuse of power as she became more powerful, and she abused her position, and that's kind of what the piece was about, and then her descent into madness.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. There was some great music in it. Performance.
The performances were fantastic, and they were real.
Yes.
For the sake of this movie, they were fantastic. They used the Dresden Orchestra.
Yep. They found,
and they really played.
They found a cellist who actually was an accomplished cellist, and played this Elgar's cello fantasy or something like that, and it was incredible. And Cate Blanchett, oh my God!
You would have thought she actually had years and years and years of musical education and conducting experience under her belt. She was that good.
Yeah, it was. This is not a movie. It's a movie that you could watch without musical training, but if you have any musical training at all, a lot of the things will make more sense to you than if you don't. Mm-hmm. They throw out some, some pretty esoteric musical terms.
There are dialogues, throughout the movie where Cate Blanchett's character, Lydia Tarr, she's having conversations with other accomplished musicians, conductors, etc., and they're speaking in what I call music shorthand.
Yeah.
They're using terms that are very common among people of that caliber. What I liked about that is the accuracy in which those terms were used and the way they expressed it. It was done in such a way that, again, you thought these people, these actors truly had that kind of musical experience. It got to a point where I forgot I was watching a movie.
Yeah.
And I thought I was either I was watching a conversation between two accomplished musicians, or B, I was actually in a symphony hall listening to an orchestral rehearsal.
Exactly. And there was some, as I said, there was some really good music.
Mahler's Fifth?
They were supposed to be doing Mahler's Fifth, and I've tried to like Mahler. I really have. I really have.
I'll say
there were some pieces.
They played more listenable parts of Mahler's Fifth.
Yes, they did. So it was, it's a great film. You should
loved
go see it. If nothing else, Cate Blanchett's performance.
She's amazing.
Yes.
I really expect her to get... I would be insulted if she did not get an Academy nod for that one.
Yeah.
Her performance is genius. It's the best thing I've ever seen her do.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to the next item, or...
Oh, sure, why not? It's just really quick.
At time a little bit.
It's just really quick.
We're rewatching the series Grimm.
Got it on Blu-ray.
Oh my gosh.
I'm loving it all over again.
I am. I'm loving it all over again. It's a really great series. It's worth rewatching. Again.
I remember a number of episodes ago, we were challenged, to do a topic about things that transcend themselves.
Right.
Grimm does that.
Yeah.
It really transcends itself. This is one of the best series I've ever watched. I mean, and even though I kind of know what's going to happen, I don't care.
Right.
Because I love how they tell it.
And it's been a while since we watched it. So
over a year.
Some of the details have escaped. So
yeah, but I find myself...
It's nice to watch again.
I find myself getting really anxious.
Is this the episode where Monroe does this?
Exactly. No, but I find myself getting very anxious for some of the big story arc reveals.
I know.
I know. Man, that series so took off when they went in that direction.
Exactly.
And they're already kind of hinting at it. So, I mean, it's just so much fun to watch now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Hey, it's America's sweetheart, Brian Augustine, comic legend and bon vivant, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
Oh my God, a voice from the past.
Brian.
I miss Brian so much.
Yeah. We're almost a year from his passing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was in December.
Oh, such a wonderful man. I really love that guy a lot.
Yep. Here's a few selected birthdays for October 24th through October 30th, 2022. October 24th, F. Murray Abraham, actor known for Amadeus and The Ritz. Oh my God. He steals the scene
I'm
every scene he's in.
I'm hard pressed. Who really steals that movie?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well,
is it him or is it Googie?
Well, there's several scene stealers in that film.
Yeah, but he is wonderful. He plays the kind of character that I would want to be friends with.
Yeah, exactly. And he was also in the Grand Budapest Hotel,
as well as Star Trek Insurrection.
Yes, Insurrection. And then we also have Anthony Van Leeuwenhoek. 17th century, he was the father of microbiology. Yes, in the 17th century. Huh. October 25th, Johann Strauss II, the Waltz King in the 1850s. Wrote waltz after waltz after waltz. Oh my gosh, he was just waltzing Matilda.
Mm-hmm. Didn't know he was from down under.
He's not. He's from up over.
Oh, very good. Well played.
Up and over. Almost. Georges Bizet, opera composer, most known for Carmen, sadly died at the age of 36.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know he died that young.
Pearl Fisher's was his as well.
Right.
But those are the only two real surviving operas that actually get played. Carmen,
especially,
by far, is...
That's his warhorse.
One of the most popular operas ever. It goes on forever.
Yeah. and he penned one of the most amazing mezzo-soprano arias ever with Habanera.
Yep. And then good friend of ours, Greg Hall. Happy birthday, Greg.
Happy birthday.
October 26th, Seth MacFarlane, actor, director, producer, Family Guy, American Dad, The Orville.
Yeah.
Which, do we know anything about that?
No, nothing has been said. I've got a bad feeling about it.
Yeah, if we haven't heard anything yet.
I've got a very bad feeling that it's not going to come back.
We're just... They would be filming. They would be doing something with it.
Oh, they would have announced something.
Right, exactly.
I mean, because Seth has said, if he does get asked to do it, that it will be a while before he got to it because he's got a lot of things on his plate. But you would have thought that Disney would have said something by now.
Exactly. And then we have Domenico Scarlatti, composer, harpsichordist extraordinaire. He wrote 555 keyboard sonatas, widely studied by piano students as well as harpsichord students, because you can play his sonatas on the, on a piano or pianoforte or whatever. But they really were written for harpsichords because at the time he was composing, there was only the harpsichord, there was the virginal, there was those things. Maybe the pianoforte, but not the piano that we know today. Mm-hmm. It was an incredible, Brendan has played a million Scarlatti pieces for us on his one of his 3 harpsichords. So, and really good. You can always tell Scarlatti just by hearing it. October 22nd or 27th. Hello, where am I at? Niccolo Paganini, another musician, composer. He was a pioneer in modern violin technique. He was also a virtuoso and played multiple instruments. Was known to play the viola as well. He wrote several violin concertos. My favorite one is his number 3, The Last Movement, Campanella, which sounds like a bell. It's one of those flowing pieces, and then all of a sudden he picks, with his little finger for the bell portion of it. He also wrote the violin caprices.
Oh my gosh, those are amazing.
Oh my God. That every serious violin student is subjected to.
Yeah. I remember we got to see Itzhak Perlman live.
Oh my God.
And of course, that was part of his repertoire for the show.
He did 4 or 5 of the caprices. It's just incredible. Robert Picardo, actor and singer. Mm-hmm. He was a holodoc on Voyager. He's been in a number of Russ Emanuel's films.
Yeah.
And they're good friends. He does parody work as a singer. That's his singing career, shall we say.
No kidding.
Is parodies of things and oddball versions of songs.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And then we have a friend of ours, Brian Winslow and Alice Harper.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. October 28th, Elsa Lanchester, and I'm just going to say Bride of Frankenstein.
Murder by Death.
Yes.
That too.
Yes. But primarily when she was a young woman.
Oh, as a bride.
She was a stunner as a young woman,
she was.
But she was the bride.
Yeah.
She was the bride. And then we have Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, who is kind of a quirky fish fingers and custard.
Fish fingers and custard.
That first episode of his.
Oh, when he
meets Amelia Pond.
Yeah, that was classic.
Yeah, I have to taste things all over again and
Yeah.
figure out whether I like them or not.
New mouth, new mouth, new rules.
And then we have Megan Enlow. Happy birthday,
Megan.
October 29th, Bob Ross and his fro
his happy little trees.
And his happy little trees.
That hair of his.
Hair of his, yes. He was a painter. I am.
He pissed me off so much.
I am obsessed with watching him do those pieces because he actually does it in that 30-minute episode.
Yep, does the whole thing.
But he does 3 copies. He does one that shows that he can do it or what he's going to do. He does one in the episode, and then he does one that is the complete finished product with little touches and everything. And it just watching him, and then it's like, how the heck did that get there?
Yeah,
it just appeared. He just swiped his brush, and it's a fully formed house.
I know he has the, and that's the one thing that really amazes me is that
magic.
He would. I know what evil sorcery is this? How he would just dab something, and he already knows that the manner of dabbing it, even though it looks like just a dot or a blob, on the canvas, by the time it's done, that's a tree.
Yeah, let's add
That's a happy
little tree
oh
over
God.
there.
He made me so angry. It's like, how dare you make that look easy?
Exactly. It made me want to paint, and then
oh my God,
I can't even draw.
No, I mean, and then I would try that. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll use this as kindling for the fireplace.
Exactly. That oil paint.
Yeah,
we have to go. Boom.
Yeah, a great way to start the fire.
Exactly. And then we have Winona Ryder, Stranger Things, among other things. Yeah. But she's great at Stranger Things.
Oh, she's fantastic.
And then a friend of ours, Dwayne Smither and Susan Hurley. Happy birthday. October 30th, John Adams.
My guy.
Not the composer.
Not the composer.
John Adams. Congressional delegate, signer of the Declaration of Independence, framer of the Constitution, President of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
What more can you say?
Obnoxious and disliked.
Sit down, John. For God's sake, John, sit down.
Never.
He was irascible, but he was brilliant. He was a genius.
I respected that quality in him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's another one. He tolerated no fools, and he had no problem in saying what he thought or what he felt, even if it pissed everybody off around him.
Yeah, and he knew that that they were making history.
Oh yeah,
at that time, so he copied every
Documented everything.
bit of correspondence that he had.
That's why his biography is like the best one, by
ever. Oh shoot,
is it David?
Oh God, I can't remember. Shoot.
I can't remember his last name.
The biography that I read of him, and then it even goes on even after Abigail died, and he was into his later years, and how he and Jefferson reconciled. Mm-hmm. They never met again.
No, but they
corresponded. And then they became friends, and they died on exactly the same day,
July 4th.
And 25 years from the signing of the Declaration.
Was it 25? That was
yes.
Okay. I thought it was 50 for some reason.
Maybe it was 50.
I think it was 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1826.
Yep. Just fascinating. Then we have Henry Winkler, actor, director, producer, Happy Days, among other things.
A highly underrated actor, in my opinion.
Yes. There was, and we've talked about this before, it's the American Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
With just is an incredible piece.
He plays the Scrooge character.
Yep.
And he is brilliant.
And then we have friend of ours, Pablo Abacento and Mario Ortiz.
Hey, happy birthday, especially, and congrats to Pablo for her big feature film she's doing.
Yep. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And it's time for our feed. Oh, there you go again. Being sneaky there, being tricksy. Time for our feedback. These are comments that we received in response to, in this case, a singular episode that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com.
Which one was that?
397.
397? What was that one?
Oh, you. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, these, oh God, thank you for derailing me. The link for this article will be in the show notes for this episode, article number 401, that you can find at tggeeks.com. And yes, this is regarding TG Geeks episode number 397.
Which one was that?
The spoilery episode with Katie Edwards. That one.
Ah, that one.
That one. Got a comment first from Katie Edwards himself saying, "Thank you, Keith and Ben, for what always turns out to be a fun, geeky, friend-filled talk. Our podcasts together are always a joy."
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Got a comment, and then got quite a few here that were all on Twitter. From someone named Jessica on Twitter saying, "What a lovely interview. A big thank you to Keith and Ben for putting this together. You did a wonderful job as always." Oh, thank you. "I wasn't expecting to get emotional during a podcast, but leave it to Katie to tug on the heartstrings and make me tear up. This was a perfect way to cap off the Hourglass Throne." Then got another comment from Steven on Twitter saying, "That was a fantastic interview. It has me salivating for all of the new books."
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Then I got a comment from John Smith, who he always follows us on Twitter. And he says, "You give a good interview, and they are good at interviews and really know their subject well." Well, thank you, John. Got a comment from Rainbow Crate, also on Twitter, saying, "There might be an early sneak peek at the alternate Eidolon cover here," and we showed it on our website. And we close off, got a comment from Arkle, who left this on our YouTube channel, saying, "It's actually fitting that this interview not more than a few days after I'd finished The Last Sun. I liked it, though it'll probably still be a bit before I get around to book 2, as there are other books in the to-read pile that take precedent. Some have been on my shelves for years. My system really only makes sense in my head, and that's just barely, so don't even ask. Anyway, I imagine by then I'll have probably forgotten most of the spoilers relating to books 2 or 3 in the interview." And that is our feedback.
Well, if you want to leave a comment on anything that we publish, whether it be one of our articles or whether it be an episode, you can do that on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can leave comments on our episodes that publish on YouTube, or directly on the episode or article itself at tggeeks.com, and you'll receive a shout out in a future episode. We also have a listener feedback line. We want to hear from you. Please, you are important. If you call our listener feedback line and leave a voicemail, we'll play that on air. How about that? Leave us a message and call 469-TG-Geeks. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
For more than 2 decades, Judy and Dennis Shepard have honored their son Matt by working to erase hate around the world. The Matthew Shepard Foundation honors his legacy by inspiring the good work of activists, teachers, artists, and legislators, and everyday LGBTQ+ folks and their allies. Join us today in helping to erase hate. Visit MatthewShepard.org.
Thank you to Comcast NBC Universal for that promo. We are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. We want you to go look at their stuff wherever you might find them. Their Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, Etsy, webpage, wherever you can find those independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, or writers, or other independent creators. Please talk to other people about their stuff, talk to them about their stuff, buy their stuff. And if you go to a con and you see them, please have cash for them. It's always nice for them to not have to pay for those fees that are associated with credit cards. Please consider supporting independent creators. And I'm going to give a shout out here real quick. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's kind of embargoed until later today. That is of this publishing. If I get my butt in gear before we leave for vacation, I will publish the article on Tuesday. But Fanbase Press, Barbara and Bryant Dillon, have a really big announcement coming out on Monday. So
indeed,
we'll hopefully get that published out there. So support independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
We have a couple of minutes so we can talk about something.
This looks interesting. I've been hearing about this.
Yeah, if you click the link, it'll take you there. I ran across an article. I haven't read it, but I did see the headline, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is kind of interesting. It's after 39 years, Ralphie Parker is back in A Christmas Story sequel, and there's a teaser trailer for it, and I will post that link. It's on Huffington Post, and it says, "Hide your BB guns, folks. Peter Billingsley is reprising his role from the 1983 Yuletide classic in a hotly anticipated HBO Max follow-up next month." So let's see. There's not
a lot in the article.
No,
but I did read someplace else that a lot of the original cast. Yeah. Oh yeah, here it is.
Ian Petrella,
it's in the second paragraph.
Zach Ward, Scott Schwartz, Artie Robb. And let's see.
They're going to add River Drosh, Julie Haggerty. Oh, Julie Haggerty. Wow. Aaron Hayes and Juliana Lane.
Interesting. it could be interesting. We'll see. Like I said, I didn't read the article, but I thought that was kind of fascinating. Interesting. It says, despite mostly positive reviews, A Christmas Story was a box office disappointment.
I can't figure out
upon the initial release.
I can't imagine why.
Interesting. Movie gradually started gaining popularity on television 2 years later when it began airing on HBO. And in 1997, it received its own Christmas Day Marathon showcase on TNT and later on TBS. And yeah, it is a a marathon at Christmas.
Yeah.
But
it spawned. I could say it spawned a number of Christmas memes.
Yeah.
Chinese a Chinese meal on Christmas Day.
Yep.
You'll shoot your eye out, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing about, the only restaurants that are open on Christmas Day are Chinese restaurants, and that's where all the Jewish people eat. That's
I did not
tradition.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how many? In fact, Todd was telling us they used to go out to Chinese food on Christmas Day.
Oh.
That's why they always did that.
Okay.
Anyway. 39 years later. Wow. I remember when it came out. Good Lord.
Yeah, this should be interesting. It'll also be fun to watch young Billingsley, now older Billingsley, in front of the camera again. He's been doing a lot of stuff behind the camera.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of fun to watch him in front of the camera again. See, how his acting
holds
is.
Up. Yeah, exactly. We'll have to take a look at that when it comes out.
Yeah, I agree. Should be fun. And it's time for our weekly review. These are items that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com this past week, and the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode article number 401 at tggeeks.com. Starting with Sunday, October 16th. Nerdy Chupacabras number 122 on Monday the 17th. TG Geeks episode number 400.
400?
Yeah.
How the heck did that happen?
I have no idea. We must have been asleep. On Tuesday the 18th, the American Film Market, or AFM, announced its 43rd edition event as in person after only being 2 years online. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday the 19th, Deep Fear hits Screenbox November 1st, and there's a trailer attached. On Thursday the 20th, first Little Mermaid poster revealed. On Friday the 21st, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Tiza Key. And on Saturday the 22nd, meet Cheekart PR, Patricia Chica, at American Film Market AFM. That's it.
And you can find all of that at tggeeks.com.
We have some shout-outs that we need to make. First to Arkle. You heard feedback from him a little bit earlier. Brian Weber. He is on Twitter as Geek of All Trades, and he is no longer Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. I don't know what his name is on YouTube. On Twitter anymore.
On YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. On Twitter anymore. He likes to change it around, and that's all well and good. But if you want to find him, the easy way to do that is to search for Geek of All Trades on Twitter. And you do that by searching for the letter G, the number 3, the number 3, the letter K of All Trades, Geek of All Trades. And
He's Arklevania 65000.
That's it. And we only mention that. Actually, you could do that. You can search Arklevania and you'll find him. And we mention that because his Arkle Times Post Dispatch News, which does republish our content from time to time. And while you're looking for all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel. That'd be youtube.com/Arkle Studios.
And he has a new YouTube video of him playing Star Trek Online with the USS Perth Amboy.
Far out. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours. Big thanks to the moderators for literally saying we could share away our content there. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for pretty much the same thing. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. That's all one word. And we must give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Other places we can be found include Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Yes, that was the podcast voice, if you didn't notice.
I didn't.
See how you are. And you can also find us on Sci-Fi Radio on Tuesdays at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time for a replay of this episode. Listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station, and Susan and Gene do a great job with
no kidding.
Sci-Fi Radio. Gene's the programmer, and he does lots of stuff. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we talked about, including that article about Ralphie. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Live and be your authentic self, no matter what the world tells you. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Peace.
Cheers.